Hi everyone, so today has been quite a rainy day outside and it's quite late in the afternoon, but the sun came out and I thought it'd be a good opportunity to let you see what I'm doing in my journal today. So I feel like doing one of those faces, and predominantly I want to use the Polychromos pencils right here, which I haven't used in a while, and I really love them, so I want to give them a go today in combination with watercolors. So I'm going to use one of the two palettes or maybe both, and I will leave the links below in the description where you can find all the colors and the brands that they're from, so you can join in. Maybe if you want, you can create one of those palettes yourself. There are also videos that you can find on my channel where I recorded the process of putting this palette together. So, and I think maybe this one as well, I can't quite remember. But anyways, have a look. And so that's what I'm intending to do. For a brush, I'm going to use this brush, but I have to say I really have to put an order through for my Jackson's 10-0 because the one that I really loved, and it was quite it was my favorite brush to use in this type of illustration, in this type of book. I left it on during my summer vacation, and that means I've been using this brush, which is gorgeous brush, but I find that it's perhaps not best suited for Tomoe River because naturally this brush holds a lot of water in the belly, and it's great for certain watercolor effects, but for example something like this, it really adds so much water that the paper really bubbles up, whereas compared to, let's have a look, this one, you can see the page is almost flat. And these two illustrations I have created using this brush with a lot of water, and so it's quite bubbled up, which, you know, I don't mind. It just gives that more crinkly kind of feel to the paper. But if you prefer this sort of flat looking Tomoe River paper, then minimal water is the best way of dealing with it. And yeah, this brush I wouldn't advise for it, but today I'm going to use it, and let's see. I'm going to go with a face. Okay, so I'm not doing the shoulders, and I'm not doing the dress, just the face and the neck. So in terms of so the lips and the cheeks, I recreated this illustration from my, if you remember, I'll just show it to you quickly. So this is the original illustration that I created and loved, and today I decided to recreate it and see how I feel about it. And because it's obviously on different paper, so it's going to have a different feeling. So yes, the difference that I've done here, I didn't outline the lips as I usually do, and I quite liked it. So I think today, and also I've done the skin tone, which I tend not to like, but again here I liked it a lot. So the muted kind of color palette is what I really like, but I think today I want to somehow incorporate the polychromos, so we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to leave the lips for that reason, and I'm going to start with the eyes. So the eyes I usually like to place in the middle of the face. So if you put a cross around the face, this is the middle. I like them nice and big. And then some eyebrows to give a sense of mood. They could be straight, they could be arched. Just play around. Maybe one day I do like a tutorial on different shapes of eyes and different shapes of eyebrows, just to show you how you can change the mood around a little bit. So for the nose, I don't want it to be too low, so I'm going to set it around here, and give myself big space for the mouth because I like big eyes, big mouth. Now here we'll do just a middle parting for the fringe, like so, and give her Mickey Mouse ears this time, like that. Roughly thereabouts. I think I'm quite happy with the eyes, and I could also give her a little eyeliner just on the lower lash line, like so. Let me know how your summer is going. I'm so happy to be back, even though, you know, having a little break and vacation is nice, but sometimes you just come to this point where you think, oh my gosh, I can't wait to be home. Especially when you have been away for a while, and as it happened this year, it was one after the other, quite unplanned, the whole thing, but yeah. So it's just good to be back. And then let's see, so here are the eyes. I'm going to set them like that. And the eyes naturally would be quite big as well, because of the shape already. And then I can close the eyelid a little bit further if I wish, just by lowering the line. And yeah, I do like to add a bit of black ink here, because later on I can use that for shadowing when I use a bit of water. So that is it. And let's see, for the hair, I think sometimes I like to add a little bit of a scribbly line, sometimes I leave it as it is. I think I'll leave it as it is just for now. And in terms of her earring, let's see, I'm just going to give her a nice statement earring like so, and do some doodling. So essentially that will be it for the illustration, but now I'm going to go into watercolor, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to check that you can see the whole thing. So let's do this. Let's see, I'll grab this palette just because I like the grey for the hair and all of those things. So I'm going to actually start by giving her a skin tone, and I will try not to dip my brush in my teacup, because that happens very regularly and then I can't have my tea. So let's see, I'm just thinking where to put the palette so you can actually see which colors I am taking. So here we go, you can see that, and then if I push her towards here, you should be able to see the swatch card. Okay, so for the skin tone I'm going into this color. And to begin with, it can come across as a bit dark, but what I like doing is I just applied where I want it darkest first. So on the shadow part, basically, the light source would come from the right, and that means it would be the lightest, and therefore the left would be the darkest. So I'm just going to touch in certain areas and kind of give it that sort of watercolor feel, you know, with letting the water do its thing. Like you could see, this line here actually works out quite well because it's the nose arch, and where I don't want it too dark, I'm just going to dab it off if I can, keeping in mind it's ink, it probably has stained the page now. So it's nice to have that sense of spontaneous kind of water lines and things to appear, sort of having it a bit of kind of make it look a bit messy. So like here, for example, I'm just going to touch the earring there and I'll leave it at that, and then I will let this first layer dry nicely, and then I'm going to go into the Payne's Grey, which is my favorite color for the hair, and do this way. Again, I will try not to cover the whole thing, leave some highlights just to make it more interesting, blend some edges, and then go in and add some darker color on this side and here, like that. And then we have these ears, and I'm just going to well, they're not ears, they're the hairdo, which looks like Mickey Mouse, and that's it. Again, just adding darker bits. The messier it is, the more I like this particular kind of watercolor effect, where it's not all uniform and all kind of flat looking. It makes it look a bit more, yeah, interesting, I suppose. So at that point, I'm then going to go in and do her eye a little bit, just pulling in the ink from here. And I think I would like to add a little bit more of this skin tone. Just in certain areas. So I'm just adding it a little bit and then just taking it throughout here a little bit as well, like so. And I'm just going to take my hairdryer and dry it off. So then at this point I will go into the lip color, and I'll go for that deep scarlet. It's a lovely dark red color, and I will give her a nice pouch. So this brush comes to a lovely tip, which means you can really create the line and the shape and the detail that you want, which is great. And I'm going to go in and darken it up again around certain areas to make it look quite plump. We want the lips to be darker on the outside and a bit lighter around the teeth area, just to make it look quite nice. And then I'm going to dab in these cheeks, and very quickly, as it still is wet, I'm just going to touch it in and basically take out that redness and brightness. And then even I can dab off a little bit if I think it's still too much, and that is then perfect in terms of color. And I'm going to leave it at that. I do like her how she came out, but I do want to incorporate the polychromos. So for that I need to wait until the whole thing is completely dry, and then I can go in on top with the pencils. Okay, so it's now dry, and I decided to add the other ear because I was going to draw her face looking towards the right, and therefore I thought just this ear would be visible, but because she's looking straight ahead at us, it makes sense to just add another ear, and I won't stick any earrings on there. It's just for the look. So let's have a look. So I've got a nice collection by now of 20 pencils, and I'm just going to roll them out like so, and kind of just look at the colors that speak out to me and just pull them out to the other side. Let me just zoom out for you so you can see what I'm doing. And So something like that. I really like cinnamon. Is that cinnamon? Yeah. It's great for skin tones of any kind. Black is great. And that. And I think that will be it for today. Hold on, there's this other red, which is the middle cadmium red. Okay, that will work. Okay, so I'll show you the color scheme that I pulled out just now. And not necessarily will I use all of them, but it's just the colors that I feel work quite well here. So what I will do is I'll probably start with the hair, just to do a few scribbles like so. So this is just adding kind of like textural value and just creating more of a like a multimedia piece. Find that layering Polychromos pencils on top of watercolor always gives it a nice kind of feel. Then I have this lighter grey. So this is the warm grey 2, and the one I've used before is the Payne's grey. So Payne's grey on top of Payne's grey. Now this is a light color and it works beautifully layering like that. So at this point I should really zoom in so you can see better, like that. So there we go. Just a few scribbly kind of shapes. Doesn't need to be anything specific really. Just go as it feels right. So like that. And then let's see, I'll go into black just to correct her, or not to correct, but to intensify the eyeliner. I feel that the black Polychromos does such a good job of immediately intensifying an eyeliner and make it really the blackest black you can think of. Yeah, that's right, Mason. And so I'll leave it at that. Then this warm grey 2 I find is quite good to put in the eyes sometimes, like that. And then in terms of the skin, I will go in with this one, which is the Sanjuin, I think. I'm not sure if I pronounce it correctly, but it's a great kind of color for when you're doing things like what's it called? Contouring, that's it.
Contouring.
Mason at the moment repeats everything that he can. So, and then I'm going to go on top of the bit of white just to mellow it down a little bit, and just to kind of tone it down and not have it too light. And again, whenever there is a bit of color with a bit of white pencil on top, I think that just gives it a bit of character, and I like that scribbly kind of feel. Let's see what else. Maybe I'll take this grey and just intensify the eye a little bit in some areas, like so.
Nope.
And then I've got a bit of a red, and I'm just going to not cover the entire lip, but just on one side and leave the other side as watercolor. And then let's see. Do you want to intensify a little bit more around this area here? You can make it as blended as you want or as scribbly. It's really up to you. So I think at this point probably should just leave it. There we go. I do tend to like just little holes for the nose, so I can go back and just emphasize with a black pencil, and then around here, if I lost some of that blackness, again I can just go in and create a few lines like so. And I think that is it. Maybe a little bit in the eyebrow and tiny bit in the choker. Okay, so this is quite good to me. Just going to break up this white line around here. Yeah, I think this is where I'm going to leave it at. So here is the texture. You can see it has added quite a bit of interest. So if I just show you the previous one, which is just watercolor with ink,
pink.
This one has a lot of depth, if you can see, because I brought out some of the darkness with the Polychromos, which are really fun to do, and it takes so little time. So if you sometimes feel that your watercolor illustration is lacking some depth, or is you know, you could create a bit more interest, then I would highly advise you try to combine your watercolors with the Polychromos pencils. So I hope you enjoy this little tutorial, and thanks for watching, and see you soon.